And as I said before the break, I'm really excited about our next presentation because it's an opportunity for us to hear from local businesses that are affecting change in the community and are looking for ways to connect with the community to create partnerships. So standing by, waiting to join you and tell you about what they do are Crystal Howe from Ice River Sustainable Solutions. And Crystal is the leader of the sustainability initiatives within the organization, working with community engagement and best practice and other things. And you'll hear directly from Crystal about those projects. And we have Morgan Wyatt here from Greenlid. And Greenlid is a company that some of you may remember as having had a winning bid on Dragon's Den a while back, and they are in the process of partnering with Ice River and moving a production facility to Southgate to work on the production of non-wood fiber processing for compostable food and beverage products like cutlery and containers. All of this is coming ahead of the upcoming Canada Plastics Pact, and Crystal will have a little bit of information about how that's going to affect us moving forward in the future. And they're both going to tell us about their agricultural commitments and practices. So I want to welcome both of you. Thanks for joining us at Ag 4.0 today.
Thanks for having us. I'll start from our team. So I'm Crystal Howe. I'm the daughter of Sandy and Jamie, who founded Ice River Springs. And I usually start off in any local conversation about the fact that we're not just a bottled water company anymore. There's definitely a lot more going on here than there was 15 years ago, or even 1995 when we started in Fibre. So I'll take you through, we kind of have an eclectic batch of companies right now. I'm just going to move this out of the way. So we have Ice River Springs, which is the company that we started off with that bottles water. And about 10, 12 years ago, we decided we didn't want to put our water into virgin plastic anymore. We wanted to find a better solution. So we started looking for recycled PET plastic. And all of our bottles are in 100% recycled plastic at this point. We actually own our own recycling plant, which is BMP Recycling, located in Shelburne, Ontario. And we make all of our own resin there now. The next company is BMP Extrusion. We make our own film wrap that goes over top of the bottles. BMP Packaging is our newest endeavor, and that's to start making thermoform clamshells out of recycled content. We also have CR Plastics products, which they were also on Dragon's Den looking for a bid, and my parents happened to see that show and reached out and asked if they could invest, just based on the fact that they make their products out of what we have coming through our recycling plant. We have Osprey Organics, which has been going on since 2010. And then we have Greenlid, which I'll let Morgan explain Greenlid later. So just a little bit about the Ice River Green bottle. This is our newest product that we've got out on the shelves. And this is basically making use of the green plastic we get out of the blue box that no one really knew what to do with. So Jamie decided one day, my dad, he said, you know what, let's just turn our brand green so that we can actually get a good use for this material. And it took a little bit, but consumers are definitely accepting it now. They're all right with drinking their water out of a green bottle. And because of that, we actually keep an additional 5 million pounds of green plastic out of landfill every year. So here you can see BMP Recycling. And this is like a bird's eye view. It is a highly technical process because what we get through the blue box is not always perfect. We get people who like to recycle lots of interesting things, such as bowling balls and shoes. But when we get bottles, this is what we do with them. So we recycle about 55 million pounds of PET through this facility every year. And we recently purchased a company called Urban Polymers, and we've taken their line and installed it here where I am in Shelburne right now. And that'll increase our capacity for recycled content by 50%. And Philly had mentioned that there's some new regulations coming through. We've got the Canadian Plastics Pact, and we also have Environment and Climate Change Canada wanting to get more recycled content into packaging and starting to set mandates on that So we'll be able to help other companies, not just ourselves, achieve those recycled content requirements. So here you see, this is our closed loop. So this is what happens between Feversham and Shelburne and whoever drinks this water. So we have the consumer enjoying a bottle of water, and we have it collected in their blue box system or curbside system. That gets back to Ice River because we buy it through those municipal systems. We sort it and separate it, and there's lots of videos online if you're interested in seeing that process. It gets ground up and it goes into a wash line. And as soon as the wash line gets a hold of it, the cap material, which is a lighter weight material, actually floats and the PET sinks. So we can take the cap material, which is we call it polyolefins, and that goes to CR Plastics to be made into chairs. So we always encourage everybody to recycle with the cap on. And then the PET will sink to the bottom of the wash basin, and that's what we collect to make our bottles out of again. So you're basically just over and over again putting bottles into the market, getting them back, and seeing that loop. My brother often says we see our bottles come home every single day, which is pretty cool. When I actually left the company to become a nurse in 2013, and I came back in 2016 to help with this endeavor to really start driving change, not just at Ice River, but throughout the entire industry and with government. So we had a third party come in and audit this process, and we did a life cycle assessment. So looking at everything from curbside collection all the way to back into the consumer's hand, what's the carbon footprint of that? And what is that compared to if we were using a virgin brand new plastic? So what we've come down to is there's a 78% reduction in emissions doing things this way, a 76% reduction in energy consumption, and a 99% reduction in water, which is counterintuitive for a water plant, but it's in the plastic process. And above all, we keep 500 million pounds of plastic at a landfill. So it's a really cool program that started in Grey County. We have CR Plastics, which we spoke about earlier. So this is the company that makes really sturdy outdoor furniture made out of recycled content. There are lines of it that are actually in retailers locally, and that they're made out of the caps. So again, recycle with the cap on, not just your beverage containers, but even things like peanut butter or your laundry detergent. Make sure that cap is on. BMP Extrusion, this was a new one for us, and this is in the flexible film area. So there's not a great demand for recycled flexible film, and we knew there had to be because we need to find an outlet for things like this, like bags and so on. So what we do is we actually incorporate, we're up to 20% recycled content in our own film, and we're working towards 30% this year, but also looking at using some of the more difficult films that come through the blue box and getting them a home. Lots of brands are saying, we can't use recycled content because it's not food grade. Well, if it's wrapping the outside of a package, you don't need it to be. So let's think about things not as waste and look at them from a perspective of how do we make them have value. BMP Packaging is actually the newest endeavor. It's based in Feversham as well. And this company we call it a sheet line. It makes sheet that would eventually be used to make thermoforms, or if anybody buys strawberries in a clamshell, it's that packaging. And the purpose of us starting this business is when we recycle at BMP, we get the easy stuff, which is what goes into our bottle. We get the caps, and we get some random stuff, as I mentioned before. But we also get colored plastics, and there's really no home for that material. So this company, we want to be able to put that colored material into a plastic container and put it in a situation where consumers won't expect it to be perfect and not expect it to be perfectly translucent. So this is the Canada Plastics Pact, and this was really exciting. This started last year. We have over 80 members now from across Canada. It started with about 40 of us. We're proud to be one of the first companies to join in. And I'm on the advisory council for 2022 and 2023. Also very exciting because it's a very small group and we get to help steer where this campaign goes. What I find most interesting about this is we have environmental organizations, we have government, we have businesses, everybody coming together to figure out how to solve the problem of plastics. What we're going to start off with is 4 goals. So we want to define a list of plastic packaging that we really don't need, that we don't want out there and can't be recycled. Then we want to, which I guess brings me a little bit to Greenlid, in the fact that there's things like straws and bags and difficult to recycle food containers that will be phased out. And this is where Greenlid has a good role to play. The second one is to support efforts towards 100% of plastic packaging being designed to be reused or recycled or composted. So not thinking so linear and really turning it to be more a cyclical thought process, not generating just waste. The third one is to undertake ambitious actions to ensure at least 50% of plastic packaging is effectively recycled or composted. So not only is it recyclable, but it actually gets recycled, it gets collected, and it ends up at companies like Ice River to make new things out of it. And then lastly, ensure an average of at least 30% recycled content across all plastic packaging by weight. So we want to be able to say that within your beverage container, I have one here, there's going to be at least 30% recycled content. Ours are 100% already, but we want to make sure that everybody is working towards more recycled content. And we want to make sure that there's a valuable stream there of PET, HDPE, LDPE, all those plastics that can be recycled. Osprey Organics. So this is actually my barn. What we've done here is, it was 2010, I had my son, Everett, and my dad said, we really should start thinking about how we collect more carbon. How do we make sure that, our businesses are run in a way that we reduce our carbon footprint, but we need a way to actually sequester it. And the farm really came into play. And in order to ensure that we're really not adding more carbon as much as possible, is we want to reduce our usage of pesticides, herbicides, and synthetic fertilizers. So in organics, that's the best way to go. A lot of our land is right around our water plant, and we really don't want to have any of those products on that source property either. So it really worked out well. So at this point, we have 3,500 acres certified by EcoCert, where there's no GMOs, pesticides, herbicides, or fertilizers. And then, as I said before, where the rest of the companies are working to reduce their carbon footprint, this one actually is a sink. We want it to absorb. And this is where we come into regenerative farming, which is the most exciting part. This is something that we've been talking about for a couple of years, but really didn't know how to start. So we've set some goals for 2022. The first one, meaning we're going to reduce the number of tractor passes on our farms by implementing no-till practices on several farms. We want to utilize a multi-species cover crop to improve soil health. So we started doing that last year. This spring will be the first year that we're actually seeding right into that cover crop that we've crimped last fall. And we want to look at, water and heat stability, reducing erosion, and then just the nutrient value of that soil and the crop that it produces. Lastly, for this year, because we figured 3 was a lot, we want to work on a small rotational grazing system. So we have a small herd of cattle and sheep that's at my farm, and we want to start moving them daily to actually utilize a small area of ground. Healthy soil, healthy crop, healthy animals, healthy humans. So within this whole program, one thing we really want to make sure we do is we want to track all the data associated with the changes, and then take pictures of that and take notes of the species, of bees that we're seeing, the changes we're seeing in the soil. And we want to collaborate with the farming community to share those learnings, as well as gain them from others, because we're new to this. So we've been working with Mel Limas, Mike Doherty, Andy Van Niekerk, and sitting them down at a table and kind of all working together, because this is not something that is everywhere, and it's done in many different ways, and it's very dependent on the farm that you're on. So we look for help and expertise. So if anybody out there wants to share information with me, we're open to that. We'd be happy to work with others. Lastly, it brings me to Greenlid. And so at this point, I'll hand it to Morgan, but this is the last group of our companies, and Morgan, take it away.
Well, thanks so much, Crystal, and I guess I'll share my screen up here. Go here. Yeah, so we've been working with Ice River for several years, and just more recently they became a much bigger partner in our business since we started on Dragon's Den about 6 or 7 years, making compostable compost bins for your kitchen. I think it's a natural fit because everywhere where we can't get some of the plastics recycled back in a closed loop system, and there's places for compostable products, we've really filled a need for those single-use plastic bans coming up to replace with actually more sustainable products. And for a lot of the part, this has been done overseas, and there's been a lot of different chemicals added to these types of products. And my background, I have a PhD in natural products chemistry, and we really brought kind of a no chemical approach to tableware. And so I'm just going to share with you a little intro video just to get an overview of what we're doing since the compost bins about 6 or 7 years ago to a full suite of totally compostable tableware.
I'm Morgan Wyatt, CEO of Greenlid, which is a leading supplier of truly compostable products for private label, retail, and food service. We create products that address every single-use plastic bin as well as varying regulation standards across North America. We have 3 major channels: retail, where we supply over 14,000 stores throughout North America with entirely sustainable product lines that are either in their own private label packaging or Greenlid branded. We offer custom solutions for products with tailor-made shapes and designs, including low-cost mold development to suit different customer needs from packaging to food service. We also have our unbranded food service line, which is truly compostable and accepted across all of North America. Waste management may differ from one municipality to the next, but we can help you understand compostability across all regions. We adhere to certification standards such as BPI or ASTMs, but we don't rely on them, since these certifications were developed by chemical companies. Instead, we work directly with compost facilities to test and improve our products. So when you choose Greenlid, you aren't just taking a stopgap approach to sustainability. Our solutions look years in the future. We provide a single source for our products, exceeding all the regulatory and certification requirements. Moreover, we have begun to develop these products in-house so that we can help you navigate through that process. What we have to remember is that single-use plastic bans are coming. Plastic cutlery and compostable plastic cutlery are already banned in Europe and will be in North America, as they do not work in our current waste or compost collection system as claimed. Whether you're in the US or Canada, consumers are expecting us to look at natural, non-stopgap sustainable alternatives moving forward. Take a moment to reflect on the key difference between biodegradable and compostable products. Biodegradable means it breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces over a long period of time, while compostable means it breaks down to carbon and oxygen fairly quickly, so new life can form out of it. Disintegrating ability is another important factor to consider, as it indicates how long a product will take to break down in a compost pile. Most compostable plastics can take up to 90 days to disintegrate, and that's in perfect conditions. They can also clog up compost facilities by not being able to tell the difference, and in home compost piles, often they're not hot enough to actually break it down. Making a commitment to natural products which break down quickly will eliminate the negative effects on the composting process. Another problem with compostable plastics is that they require facilities and curbside collection that can distinguish them from regular landfill plastic. As you can see, they often look identical to each other. For that reason, they're often sorted out at compost facilities and aren't home compostable, meaning that a lot of people are paying a premium for additional plastic waste and extra cost to sort them. Back in 2014, when we started our company and began visiting compost facilities, we learned about PFAs. These fluorinated compounds that give molded fiber products their oil-proofness are related to Teflon and tannering chemicals. PFAs, which are also known as forever chemicals, are toxic to humans and have been attributed to infertility issues, obesity, liver damage, thyroid disease, and cancer. These chemicals migrate into oxygen, food, dust, soil, liquid, blood, and human tissue. While before these hazardous chemicals started receiving mainstream attention, Greenlid designed a full line of molded fiber products that don't contain these fluorinated chemicals. I have a PhD in chemistry, and from the beginning, we've been steadfast about refusing any toxic shortcuts while developing our oil, grease, and leak-proof products. We can also test to ensure your products do not contain cancer chemicals. Just like BPA was to plastic, PFAs will be to molded fiber. We're looking ahead to a new standard for your family and the environment.
So that's a little bit of an overview where we're at over the last, I guess, about 7 years. Right now, we've taken a lot of our technology in this molded fiber area, especially now with the single-use plastic ban, and we've been producing it actually overseas because there's been traditionally a lot of molded fiber produced there out of things like sugarcane and bamboo. But we've grown so much over the last couple of years that we're now actually supplying around 14,000 stores with totally sustainable tableware and without these types of chemicals that are often found in some other products. And so our big thing here is now up in Grey County, we're actually working with Ice River and we're building a new non-wood fiber processing manufacturing. And I like to always say innovation because I'm the crazy scientist in this facility here. And so we're going to look at doing mechanical processing of hay bales, straw bales, switchgrass, and a lot of different fiber sources where we can actually mechanically pulp these after they've even been on your fields for over the winter and broken down and got the nutrients out, take some of that fiber off and actually process them into these types of products, such as like coffee cup lids, all these tableware things. And we actually do it in a very chemical-free process. So we're bringing in some state-of-the-art technology in the terms of the forming and the processing, but we're going back to some of the grassroots of how do we process some of these fibers in the old traditional paper making ways and make some different products. The phase one, what we're looking at here is actually we're actually breaking ground right now on a 60,000 square foot facility in the Southgate Eco Park. We're really excited about this, and we're going to be and so it's pretty exciting because we're kind of a clean slate to do this right from the beginning. And so we're going to be actually making all this fiber and processing into pulp slurries that we can make into the molded fibers, but also thinking forward and getting away from cutting down trees and wood fibers and actually make even paper-based products, packaging, liner boards, and other things in this kind of process. It's been a long time thinking about, we need perfect paper, let's bleach it, let's get it all perfect fiber length. But we think we can get the same type of properties with some of our new technologies that we're going to be bringing in there. And so we're building over the summer and ordering a bunch of our machinery and slowly scaling up over the next few years, and happy to partner with everybody up in Grey County. We'll be obviously looking for new people to bring on to the role in the facility, from just manufacturing jobs as well as into the R&D and innovation, because we want to stay ahead of the curve on non-wood fiber processing, which kind of has been left a little bit behind with wood being so readily available, but I don't think it's going to last for long considering how much Amazon boxes are everywhere. We need some new sources that can come back to us. So we just have a whole line of, just flip through some of these. These are molded fiber tableware lines. Everyone should try some wheat drinking straws. If you see them in the store, they're probably from ours, but this is eventually what we're hoping to cut off fields up there where we can actually cut the stalks. And the reason why a straw is called a straw. Everything here, we strive for home compostability, easy to recognize, and we work with the facilities, which makes us different than a lot of other manufacturers of these products. And also, we're looking at the coffee cups. We drink a lot of coffee in Canada, and we think that we can make a big difference using non-wood fiber-based coffee cups and also fiber lids. These often end up in the trash. They're difficult to recycle often if they're black lids or polystyrene lids, and often the coffee cups themselves are coated in a polyethylene that makes it difficult to recycle as well. And so we think we can come up with some nice natural alternatives so that we can stop putting a few billion coffee cup lids in the landfill every year. So we're excited to come up there and happy to chat with anyone who knows anything about growing fiber, wants to talk fiber, and the different types of innovations we can work together on up in the Eco Park in Grey County. So thanks, happy to take questions, I guess, if it's open up for that kind of thing. Oh. Can't hear you.
Would like to send us any questions. I have one to start.
Dylan, we can't hear you.
Okay, we can't hear me. My mic seems to have gone. Okay. You got me back? Great, excellent. It was just a matter of poking my mic. Okay, so I was just inviting questions. We have about 5 minutes. I have one question to start, which is, have you looked at any opportunities to make an innovative bale wrap for farmers?
I will start by saying I've already thrown this at Morgan. Because it's something we definitely need to look at.
I think I believe in anything's possible. I think that's where we're looking into how when we're going to look at processing bales of hay ourselves. Yeah. This is part of the whole process, looking at this wrap. But I think also there might be interesting ways. I'm not as familiar with it as I should be, but I know I will be probably over the summer. But if anybody has any ideas, happy to talk about them as well.
I think Bruce County has a program running right now with Clean Farms Canada. We're trying to get Grey Highlands in that.
Excellent. Yes. Bruce County's got a delivery site at the Waste Transfer Center in Tara. And we would absolutely love to see that expand across Grey to municipalities that want to have that kind of facility. So, and they would be able to take bale wrap and boat wrap, which is the other big source of that large scale plastic wrap. So I do have another question, and it comes from Sean at Highland Grounds in Flesherton. And massive, it isn't even a question, it's just a statement. Massive advocate for a better coffee cup. Please stop in and chat with Sean. So I think this is a little design challenge maybe. So that's a great opportunity. I don't see any more questions coming up quite yet. So what I would like to do is invite you to share contact information, or if it's not easy to do that, people can get in touch with me at food@grey.ca, and then I can pass your preferred contact information along for anyone who wants to get in touch about any of the things that you've discussed. I'm really excited to see Greenlid and the Expanded Ice River initiatives happening in Grey County, and I know other county and our member municipalities are excited to help these sustainable projects grow. So. We're really happy to have you here. Thank you for the presentation, and we look forward to continued news and communication and working together.